wonder how true it is. On June 1st, 1990, I had an on-the-job back injury that propelled me into my destiny. Music, art, and drama, the things I love doing the most.
Here with Anita Connor. Hello, Anita. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Well, that's fantastic. So, when you go out, what types of things do you like to see or partake of?
It depends on where I am at the time. Sometimes I just like comedy. I just like to laugh. Other times I like things that force you to think and be more introspective and kind of have a thought-provoking type of theme.
Okay.
But I definitely enjoy, in terms of types of entertainment, movies, plays, different types of productions.
What is it like going to one of the productions that created by Laura Thompson, Arualcat Productions?
I think it's varied depending on the production. I think that in the production, and She Was Not, I think that was a much different audience than the other audience, say a God's House production. So much different audience. I think the release event was much more of a spiritual event.
Okay.
The God's House event was a very varied event. So in addition to traditional aspects of a play, there was music, there was dance. So it was like a multifaceted production,
Okay.
if you will.
So let's go back to the environment. You went to a place to eat.
There was a dinner, so it was more like a dinner theater type of thing. There was a dinner provided in addition to the production.
Okay, cool. Did you participate in the production at all?
I didn't really participate in the production per se. I was more of an audience member, so I wasn't really a participant in that production.
Did it have participation in it? Where people participated?
Yes.
Okay. So it was almost like, well, I think there's something here called Agatha Christie's where they have like audio or mystery theater where you kind of participate almost as an actor. You get a line that you're supposed to say. Okay. So that's one level of participation. Now I'm flipping over to what's the And She Was Not. So that was actually a reading.
Right.
But it was supposed to be a critique of the production. What did you remember seeing at the end of that production? Which
I think it turned more into a discussion. It started with a critique of the production and things that maybe could have been done differently or came across different, better, whatever. But I think it turned into a discussion on the main character.
Right.
And how people identify with that main character and how we kind of maybe have all been at that place at one point in time. Right. And I think it kind of brought that to light more so. So it started with a critique, but it turned into more of a discussion about this character and how people were identifying with her.
What are your thoughts about people and talking and having that space to actually share their views? Or that's not really in productions today.
Right, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not anywhere, really. I think that because today so much is on social media that those discussions can go a whole different way. And people tend to say things they wouldn't say to a person in person and become very critical and different things like that. But so face-to-face discussions are becoming more rare anyway.
Right.
So I think to have an opportunity to have a discussion and to identify with different things is becoming more rare, period. So I think that was a good thing, just to provide people with something to think about. So it was not just like, oh, okay, that was nice, but people actually identified with the character and had something to say in terms of how they identified and what they thought about it and, you know, what that period in their life might have been or where they are now or what have you.
The organization has an opportunity to do varying things. Here in this particular scene, we see the organization at a drama camp in North Carolina some years ago. This is a silent presentation being done by the participants, an all-male review. Let's see if you can guess what type of skit they were putting on that they developed and directed themselves. This is an example of some of the graphics to be used in our music and arts program for our animation series, Ella the Violin.
So, Kyle, tell me, what is it that you do?
I'm a professional voice talent. I'm a professional voice actor, and if somebody needs me to fill in for an acting role, I can do that too.
Yeah. And you're a really good voice actor, too. I had the opportunity to work with Kyle on an Ella project. We were just listening to that in the studio, me and the engineer, just recently, and he was like, "Yeah, that sounds pretty good." And I says, "Yeah, it does sound really good." So reading and putting your voice to things is like nothing, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially.
How long have you been doing this?
Roughly for 7 years.
Okay, you're a producer. You write. You want to be a director.
Yes.
Right. And you want to direct kids?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't want to. I just haven't had the privilege and pleasure of working with them.
Okay.
So I don't know how it's like.
Okay. So do you have like a code name that you use? Like dark shadow or something like that?
I do. But
Okay.
That's
okay. That's okay. It's okay. You don't have to tell us your name. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. All right. Well, what's it like working with Laura?
Honestly, one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. Not only is the material very original and thought-provoking, there's always at least one or two characters that I can relate to and get into character to. You know, like I forgot which character it was. It was the one. I think it was the one with the cookie. The guy who was crazy
the coffee
about
cookie. There was a guy that was
cookie.
crazy about cookies and the coffee cookie.
It wasn't originally my original part, but
Mm-hmm.
something about that guy made me gravitate towards him because he was just crazy.
Well, he was animated.
He was animated. I want to create a lot of diverse characters.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's a lack of them on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that I can create characters that are just as animated as that. Or if not as animated, at least with a different mindset than your typical tough guy, mean guy.
You were a teacher at Berkeley?
I've done some clinics at Berkeley, but I haven't done. I did a 2-day teaching thing at Berkeley. Just they invited me up because they heard with my drumming and stuff. I have a lot of students and stuff that I've taught through the years, far as drumming is concerned, and far as engineering is concerned too. I've taught a lot of people. I taught John Blackwell that plays with Prince. Quite a few people.
Pro Tools is the standard.
Yeah, I got Pro Tools and Logic Pro. And I have everything that anybody wants to get a hold to.
How long did it take you to really get to where you are? Because some people think you can just turn it on, switch it on, and it's all there. Everything's good.
It's almost like that now.
Okay.
But back in the day, it used to be a ton of equipment in here. Like a board that was like 8 feet long and just racks and racks of stuff, and it would get hot, and the electric bill would go high.
Hot, and high.
Yeah, all of those things would happen. But now the technology has gotten to where all of that stuff that used to be in the rack is inside the computer. It just and it gives me the ability to afford stuff that sounds as good as the original that I couldn't afford, like a $10,000 or $30,000 reverb unit, or $10,000 compressor.
But you got to know how to use it, though.
Yeah, you got to know how to use it, but just to be able to get that, all this stuff is in the computer, and it's great. So I went from amassing a whole lot of stuff to down to just a desktop, a recording interface, and some preamps, and that's it. And everything else is inside the computer.
Well, back in the day, the interface was just MIDI.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yep, and a lot of chords, a lot of chords.
MIDI.
Yeah, it's just not MIDI anymore. I used to have a ton of keyboards too, with a rack of what they call racked instruments, and just a huge amount. Now all of that is in the computer.
Wow.
All instruments.
Ella the Violin is a children's book and a musical. With the help of graphic artists like Sean McElderry of Max Graphics and Magic Machine out of India, this is slowly becoming the character development for our first animation.
Victoria Orso.
Thank you.
And we were just going to begin talking about your plans for the future, your plans for college, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us that major again. It's intercultural
relations.
Okay. And your goal or your main desire with that major is
To do business internationally.
Okay. Now, how does that work internationally?
Well, because you have to be able to get along, and you have to be able to know how to put the olive branch out there. Eventually, I will have my own business.
Okay.
You know, and the goal is to be able to do that and learn all I can while I'm out there in the field.
Okay.
And then when it's time for me to open my business, I'll have a great experience.
Right. Okay.
I'll have a great experience.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm wishing you all the best of luck
Well,
with
thank you
all
so
of your
much.
plans. I think that, you really do have your head really focused on what it is that you'd like to do. And, I think Victoria is proof that even if things are out of sequence, as long as you maintain some level of focus, which is what you were saying just now,
Yes.
right? As long as you maintain some level of focus, it is possible for an individual to get back on track. I mean,
Definitely.
you left the French language, so to speak, for quite a few years,
Yes.
and then came back and realized, you have something very powerful in your back pocket that you could use.
Well, as I said before, I wanted to go and work in the French embassy.
Right.
That was like when I was 17, that was my heart's desire.
Mhm.
And so this is just a way for me to kind of still have my heart's desire.
Of course. And so, those of you that, you think about what it is you've learned a long time ago, and just think how those things could benefit you now. I mean, a lot of people are going through a lot of career transitions, and you're trying to figure out, what is it that I need to do? Technology's changed, the procedures of the way you used to do things have changed, they used to do things have changed, and there's tendency to kind of make folks feel like they're not valuable workers anymore.
Mhm.
But you have to kind of go back like Victoria did and begin thinking about, well, what is it? What's that niche that I have that gives me an edge over everyone else?
Mhm.
And I think you found it. I think the French language is probably the niche, and there's just a variety of things that you can do.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And it opens up a brand new world for you. I mean,
really
while
does.
many people will be stuck just doing things in one language,
Mhm.
you have at least two
Yes.
that you can work with.
Yes.
And as travel becomes more easy for people, it's desired that people stay in communication. They with their culture,
Mhm.
and you might be that cultural guru that
You
will
know,
help make that happen.
That's the goal. Because you know what? No matter what, we all have to get along.
That's true.
We all have to get along.
That's true. That's true. We're so happy that you came today, and
So
you
happy to
chatted
be
with
here.
us.
So happy to be here.
And we're going to look for big things from you in the future. All right?
Thank you very much.
All right.